Campbell's flipping flapjack and soup. I know. We never talk about Campbell's soup on the channel, okay? Ticker symbol CPB, right? So this is one of those stocks. So Wall Streeters said, you need to be hiding your money out here, right? This is safety. This is what they told us, right? This is safety. This is a safety stock, right? This stock is down 19% this year. 19%. How is that safety? So I invest in this company, this Campbell's soup, to lose 19% in 6 months while everything else goes up and up and up. This is safety? I don't think that's safety, okay? What they say is safety, many times it's not safety in the market. There's no such thing as safety in the market, okay? It doesn't exist. There's risk-reward profiles. Some have better risk-reward profiles than others. Some have really bad risk-reward profiles. And if you don't have much growth and you have things going bad for your business, you're set up for massive downside there. And this is in a year where the S&P 500 is doing very well. Stock like this, down 19+%, shouldn't be like that, right? If you look at a stock like Kraft Heinz, this is another one of those safety stocks, right? Is it really safety? It's down 41% in the past 5 years. Is a stock like that really safety in the end? This is what you got to ask yourself. Companies that have trouble growing their businesses, at the end of the day, are not safe companies. When I think of a safer company, I think of a company that can consistently grow their business over, a 3-5 year span and grow it every single year at a nice single-digit clip or even a double-digit clip, right? And is profitable, and they can grow that profitability over time. They got a good balance sheet, and they got products and services that are going to be much more in need 3 years out, 5 years out than they are today, okay? And that it's hard to duplicate those products. When you have, these companies that it's very easy to duplicate, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to make some soup. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to make some ketchup and mustard, right? And there's a lot of people, there's big markets, there's a lot of people that want to take business from that. And so these safety stocks, just keep in mind, many times, folks, they're not what they're all cracked up to be. They're actually not safety whatsoever, okay? That's my worries, not my prediction. And it's important that we differentiate those as stock market investors. You can be worried about things. It doesn't mean you have to make a bet on that thing, right? There's a lot of things I worry about in the economy or this or that. Doesn't mean I always have to place a bet there. I can place a hedge there if I want to. But the problem is a lot of people have worries, and just understand in the financial markets, there's always a lot of things you're going to be worried about. There's never really like a clear sailing here, because as soon as you get a clear sailing, something happens out of nowhere that you never expected. And next thing you know, it's, tough sledding out there. So that's important to differentiate between your feelings of your worries and having to bet on those things happening and saying, I got to sell out all my stocks because I'm worried about ... Because I can tell you, you're always going to be worried about something in this game. Bull market, bear market, kangaroo market. There's always opportunities out there, folks. Always opportunities. There's always companies to buy that are going to do very, very well. Even if the market's stagnant. And even Stanley Druckenmiller, he's made predictions in the past that this decade is going to be a stagnant decade for the indexes. If that happens, you better know how to pick stocks, man. You better know how to run valuations on companies. You better know how to understand financial statements on a high level, income statements, balance sheets, how to run metrics, how to know if you're getting a great deal on a stock or you're getting ripped off on a stock. Those aren't questions you're going to struggle over this next decade, I can tell you that. Okay, so what's going on here in regards to Tesla? Okay, the first thing is very big. The second thing we'll get into might even be bigger for Tesla. And I'll run you the numbers and projections, and that's going to be pretty crazy, okay? So first thing up here that matters in a significant way is this. So Tesla stock hits 2023 high with $32,000 starting price for a Model 3. Tesla stock hit a 2023 high Thursday with all Model 3 vehicle trims now eligible for the full tax credit under the Inflation Reduction Act. While it remains unclear how the global EV giant accomplished this feat, the Model 3 now has a starting price of around $32,000. Oh my gosh, okay? What? Like you want to put Tesla's business model on the juice? This is putting Tesla's business model on the juice. And this has gotten so insane that even one of my favorite YouTubers out there, Mav, right? Even Mav, in last night's members only video, was basically saying that even he is having to get less bearish on Tesla now at this point in time. He actually sounds like I don't want to say he's going bullish on the stock, but he's basically saying it's hard to bet against Tesla anymore now at this point in time, because he was referring to this article, Tesla's Model 3 is now cheaper than Toyota's Camry in California. And that's one of the most bearish guys I've ever heard speak about Elon Musk or Tesla and kind of his thoughts around this over the years. And even he is like, it's not worth it, man. Don't even mess with this. When then starts happening, you realize something's going on with Tesla's business model fundamentally. It just even is making the bears and the shorts say, hell with this. Now, the second massive thing for Tesla, and this is really massive, I'll run you through some numbers and kind of, expand everybody's brain on how big this could be. Breaking at Tesla, CEO Elon Musk and GM CEO Mary Barra have reached an agreement for General Motors to adopt Tesla's North American charging standard and provide GM customers access to over 12,000 Tesla superchargers across the United States and Canada. Now, this is massive. I mean, when you're talking about GM, you're talking about one of the biggest auto manufacturers in the world, right? And they are saying, you know what? We're going to use Tesla's supercharger network. That's our best bet. Rather than try to build us out ourselves or do anything else, damn it, we're going to use them. They're the leaders in this market. We're going to use them. And this is massive because it comes just a week after Ford, right? Ford announced that they're going to use Tesla superchargers for their vehicles as well. So now at this point in time, you got two of the biggest automakers out there, certainly two of the biggest in the United States of America, GM and Ford, basically saying this. Who's to say every other major auto manufacturer is not going to use Tesla, right? They're all likely coming to use Tesla's supercharger network over the next several years. It's probably just going to be deal by deal by deal by deal. And this is massive, right? Because here's the thing, right? And I talk about this all the time, and I think it's the most underrated thing that people aren't looking at when they're thinking about Tesla stock. They're thinking about Model 3, they're thinking about Model Y, they're thinking about the cars. But the underrated thing with Tesla's business model is their services business, which is about, let's call it a $6 billion business today. I mean, the services business itself could be a $50, maybe $100 billion, if not bigger than that, business over time. And we're talking about before robotaxi opportunity. That's a whole other, growth level if you want to talk about those numbers. Okay, the services number, this is a baby infant in Tesla's business model. And of course, as a percent, we'll see what happens with that over time because automotive revenues are just so big and going to continue to get a lot bigger over the coming years. So as a percent, it might not move, but as a dollar amount, it's going to likely move substantially. This is going to be a laughable number compared to where this is. It's very similar to if you were thinking about Apple stock, I would say, 10, 15 years ago. Apple stock, you could look at it as, well, they just sell hardware devices, or you could look at it as, wow, there's a services business that's going to build into this behemoth, and it's going to become very impactful. And now services is the second most important business for Apple. Some would say it's actually the most important business now. iPhone still is the most important business for Apple, right? And then comes services. And I see it being that exact same way when it comes to good old Tesla my Tesla here, okay? Now, to do a little math around this, okay, there's roughly 40 million cars in the United States a day that fill up, okay? They go to the gas station to get gas, roughly, okay? It's hard to know the exact number, but that's the rough number, right? Now, you make about $1 profit per customer. That number can move around lower than that or higher than that. I know it's hard to think like, wow, I fill up my tank, spend $50 or $100 or whatever, and they only make $1 off me. Gas stations have very small margins per gallon of gas sold, essentially. They could make as much as $3 or $4 from you if times are really good for them. And let's say you got a big tank. But most of the time, they're going to make about $1 off you, okay? So that means there's roughly about $40 million of profit made per day from gas stations just from selling gas, rough numbers, right? Now, if you go ahead and times that out by 365 days in a year, it's $14 billion plus of profit per year that gas stations are making, right? Just small, 5 cent, 10 cent, 15 cent, sometimes if times are great, 20 cents a gallon, they're making off you every time you go to gas up, right? Now, think about this for a moment. If all that money's being made there, is it impossible to imagine Tesla making a few $1 billion of profit per year from their supercharger network in a few years from now? I don't think so at all. Are they ever going to make $14 billion of profit per year? I'm not so convinced of that, right? Because a lot of people are going to supercharge from home versus obviously gas cars everybody has to go to the gas station. So I don't know about that. Could Tesla maybe make a little more profit than others? It's a potential, especially if they're talking about setting up more and more big supercharger stations that, let's say, run on solar, so they don't have to touch the grid for that. Well, then Tesla's making straight profit, right? They have to do obviously the capex to build that out, but then after that, if it's all solar powered, oh my gosh, well, it's all straight profit from there, right? So I don't think it's crazy at all to imagine that Tesla's making a few $billions of profit, not revenue. Revenue number will probably be a lot bigger than that, but a few $billions of profit per year just from this opportunity of the supercharger network as more and more of the automakers come on and more EVs are sold each year, right? And to give you some reference, Tesla's net income last year was $12 billion roughly. So if you're talking about an extra few $1 billion just from a supercharger network, it's very impactful.